Hi, I'm Seth Perry, and I'll be showing you some of the works of Carl Friedrich Hill. I first noticed this drawing while doing research for an earlier class project. Even though I did not use it for that project, it did, however, pique my interest as I read the information about him attached to the collection of his works on Google Art Project. And as I looked through his work and read the descriptions, most of which are largely similar, I started to piece together what seems like a sad story of a landscape painter whose works were underappreciated, even rejected. It wasn't until he had a severe psychotic breakdown at 28 years old and began to make strange drawings, such as this untitled one, which can only be called by the text that is written on it. But backing up a little just to give you an idea of his actual paintings, this one of the villa is said to have been created at the happiest time in his life, even though you will notice his works become darker within the same year of 1877, which is kind of interesting to me since I was born 100 years later in 1977. He also painted The Tree in the River 3 that same year, which the site says was rejected by the place he was working and studying. And also in 1877 he painted The Cemetery, which he wrote about in a letter speaking of his loneliness, hopelessness, and despair. Then the following year, in 1878, he painted The Black Spruces while he was hospitalized for his mental illness, but at a time when he showed improvement and they allowed him to paint. You can see the pain and isolation in the darkness of it, in the angle looking up and the swaying of the treetops in various directions. But, as I mentioned earlier, he wasn't known until he had his psychotic breakdown in 1878, and his strange drawings got notoriety as outsider art made by a crazy person who had auditory and visual hallucinations. And as it was, this was the first of his works to catch my attention. One thing to note from this and all but one of the works I will have shown you in this video is the level of detail he was able to work with, as most of these drawings and paintings are rather small. For example, this one is approximately 8 by 6 inches and done with a crayon. He has details of what looks to me like grass, waterfalls, trees, a shadowy figure on the right, a hand reaching up below that, and what appears to be a skull in the middle. In this other untitled drawing, also known as Woman in Mountains of Mathematical Manuscripts, it has many lines of equations along the bottom that we can see better if we turn it sideways and zoom in. And as we see in this completely untitled one, with the two figures, curled and contorted, and again, if we zoom in, we see text written all over it, although I can't read or translate it. It is all very enigmatic and makes you wonder what went through his mind, and even reflects the chaotic jumble of thoughts that run through the minds of a lot of creative, artistic, deep thinking people. And it touches on something that seems to be from the subconscious, something that speaks to me in a way that I don't even understand. I just felt drawn in to explore further. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this presentation, and if you want to see more, here is the link to the collection of works housed at the Malmö Konstmuseum in Sweden and available on the Google Art Project.